If you are new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So, this video is more of a talk about what I plan to do in the future. And what I'm planning to do is a few videos talking about specific things. I would also like to admit that, I gotta not use in a sentence like that. I would like to say that I am doing this unscripted, so bear with me, okay? So I will try to talk about certain points and focus on that specifically, and then move to the next. So it's probably about to be a lot of editing for me, so that's fun. Anyway, let's get started. So I want to talk about what I plan to do after this video, and that is to first do these things. Right, these three things I'm going to point out. There's a video that I want to make that's probably going to take the longest time. But I don't mind, as it's something that I'm really invested in, and it's something I always want to learn more about that I rarely get to see. Probably because some people don't think it's really worth the time learning. So there's this museum on VRchat called the Virtual Furry Museum, and there's a whole bunch of interesting information there that I love to read. When I first went there, man, I was very mesmerized by it all. Like I didn't know the origins, and I guess that makes sense to why I felt more connected with the fandom I'm trying to be a part of, which is furry fandom, yeah. And it's astonishing, really. It made me learn a little bit more. So, of course, it's something that I do want to make a video on. I'm just going to be an audiobook for it, pretty much. Read everything. There's currently an April Fool's for it going on currently. Um, I'm making this video on what day? Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. And it's about to end soon, so I probably should go in there and go grab the footage for that. Every single thing. Yes, even the censored stuff has, like, information on them. Which is very funny, because nowadays, yeah, censorship is, like, a whole thing for, like, if you want to learn something new. So some people will somehow find it very suggestive or highly inappropriate. I just think some people are just reaching when it comes to that stuff. I actually have a personal experience with it myself, and that's probably this is actually very good because I get to another topic. I do want to make something on my channel called Golden Pet Peeves. It's something where you get to learn about me, really. Learn a little bit more about me. You know what I'm like. You basically get to know what my pet peeves are, but you also get to understand how I feel. So you can probably see where I'm coming from it. I do want, when it comes to that kind of content, I want it to be a little bit more engaging. It's not something I'll probably do commonly. It should be a rare thing, to be honest with you. It might be treated as something that people should, like, probably learn from, or what to expect or see. But everyone experience is different, so it probably won't be the same as mine. Uh, the three videos I do want to talk about when it comes to making the Golden Pet Peeves, or at least, at least yapping. There's not much to make. I'm just talking, while I also have to make probably the thumbnails for it to understand how I when I express about it. I don't know what I'm gonna do when it comes to those videos. I'm not a great artist. I do probably want to have, like, what, line art, or not line art, sorry, me drawing in the background of it while I'm talking, or just, like, have a pre-recorded drawing to see, like, okay. It's embarrassing to talk about my drawing, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm not too big fan of, like, how I draw. I do want to get better at it eventually. Like, if when it comes to my drawing skills, because I think y'all, people who have seen my previous outros, or at least the outro I previously using before this video, I feel like I could use a little work. Don't get me wrong, I love my three characters, but my one friend pointed out one problem that I saw too. I made my boy Estimethodos, supposed to be my second main Sona, like, have small arms, and yet my other character Hodulus and my other character Karma Atlas, I think Karma Atlas arms could have looked better. But I guess I gotta remember that I'm not, like, an experienced artist like that, and I draw, like, rarely, but yeah, I do want those to, like, at least feel like a different video with those thumbnails if I actually make something for them instead. But that's the Golden Pet Peeves. Now, videos. Now, I know I mainly made VRchat videos. That's because I'm primarily on VRchat 24/7. So that's most likely the content that's going to be seen, like, 90% of the time. But I do play other games, and I do want to get them on my channel too. So, but expect 90% of it to be VRchat related, or something with me and my buddies, because I don't really do much without my friends anyway. I probably should, to be honest. I probably should start doing things without my friends so I can actually feel uh, more established. But I'm pretty sure it's kind of funny to have them just there to somewhat kind of try to make fun of me. Um, I know in certain videos when like Jev makes fun of me because that man's like he's like older. I'm 22. That man's like what, early 30s. So he does gross humor. And I'm slowly understanding it. I just need to start talking. I just need to start, I should start cooking him back when he on my case like that. Yeah, cause I like to have fun. I like to have a laugh here and there. But that's my content is supposed to be like basically around gaming. Sometimes it's talking, but I think the talking might be left to me. I don't think my friends would like to talk about like certain things or have a discussion about the stuff. That's more of a mind thing. Since I do talk a lot, I do yap a lot for people that do personally know me, and I do try not to mistake in things. Hence why I make my certain point or certain stances I want to say very clear. But I do have a lot of friends that appreciate me, so that's good enough. No, I'm not gonna turn to those channels that wanna. No, I might be wrong because when I do the Golden Pet Peas video, I don't want to turn into like one of those channels that be like, oh, VRchat has a problem. I mean, yeah, there's some problems, but there's only so much that VRchat probably can do as I don't know, a company. I don't know what to call that anymore. I'm pretty sure they're a company or something. Hold on, I might need to double check before I continue because I think they're a company. I could be wrong. I probably am just misconstruing. Let me go find the exact choices of words that I should be saying. VRchat is primarily a private company, though there are reports of a related entity, VRchat Incorporated, being listed on the OTC market. Uh, Okay, so I guess it is I don't know. I'm getting a summary from I guess the AI overview. I think it's Copilot's AI overview, so it's probably not correct. I can probably go. Let me check Google. Okay. VRchat Incorporated is a privately held company founded in 2014 and based in San Francisco. What is CA? Probably something. Sorry if I don't know what that is. It develops and operates a popular social virtual reality platform. VRchat allows users to create and publish and explore virtual worlds and avatars. The company has secured significant venture capital funding. Key details about VRchat Incorporated. Founders Graham Gaylor, CEO, and Jesse Jodgery, CTO. I do apologize, I'm butchering this. Platform, the VRchat app is available on Steam, MetaQuest, and Vive Port. Business model. It operates free-to-play model with revenue generated through subscriptions, VRchat Plus, and partnerships. Company status. It is a remote-first, privately held company. VRchat Inc. has raised substantial investment, including a 80 million Series D round in 2021 to expand the creator economy and platform reach. Okay, now this is Google's AI overview. I don't know if the AI overviews are correct. I probably should go do deeper research myself. But I know that nowadays certain information you want to go find an exact source for instead of just relying on the AI too much. But VRChat is a private company apparently, and from I don't know if it's good or bad that that it's a private company. It probably is good. Maybe I'm not too sure, but man, I probably need to study companies myself. I think it's a whole other topic that I'm not gonna really touch or probably see too much on. But yeah, VRChat itself, I'm not gonna be one of those people that really talks about that much. I mean, I'll talk about my experiences. Like, I know within my golden pet peeves, I'm gonna have some. They're most definitely gonna involve those experiences because man, I can't kid you enough about the fact that when it comes to being on VR chat with these people, you get the most insane, or just completely absolute backwards individuals. And I know it's probably crazy, especially when I don't think people like know who I am like that. So I will point out that I am very uncultured, and my entire thing has been mainly online. So I would somewhat understand when it comes to encountering people on the internet or seeing how people work or act, since it's primarily what I do. And it's insane to me how I've been online most of this time, and yet the things that people say and do isn't exactly something they should be doing. But then again, when it comes to the internet, you can do whatever you want realistically, but I don't think it should be within the the realm of like malicious or malice intent. I think it should be in the bounds of like reason and complete understanding in what someone's doing. You know, it shouldn't just be based off like what you think is right or what you feel like is right. It should be based off if you're sure you're right. Nowadays on the internet, people don't really think about that kind of thing, and that's why the golden pet peeves is probably something I'm going to have. I wouldn't say most of them. Like I said, they're not going to be entirely bad. Actually, the way how I'm explaining it now is most likely probably not going to be the same things. I know I have the odd tendency of trying to explain things, and I guess it seems out of it seems out of ordinary. Man, doing this unscripted is a can of worms. Because there's a reason why my memory's not that good, and that's why I don't want to talk about nothing too crazy. But yeah, sorry for the derail. Back on topic with the company thing. Yeah, VRchat is a company, a private company at that. Tend to, oh my gosh, why am I losing my words? VRchat is a private company. Probably can't like deal with the things that it probably goes on with their platform, as most of it is user generated content. So it's most likely due to the fact that when people like complain about VRchat or things of that nature, it's really based on its users. Because I'm pretty sure some of these companies like to have people like have their free creativity, their free will to use their platform to how they see fit, and then you have people that complains about VRchat and just not the people that's using. I can see this stance of like, yeah, they it is their platform, so they are the ones that's going to be ultimately responsible. There's no question about that one. I won't ignore that in the slightest. But it really is a shame that they that everyone is then going to be punished, because that's realistically the only way that has to be done. You know, if you want something done correctly, everyone has to face the brunt force of it. Especially when you want, I don't know, let's say the platform has like these certain issues, or like user generated content being uploaded that seems a bit too inappropriate, obscene. There's ways to have this issue, but they don't mind it as long as like what, invite plus or invite only. Even though I would recommend just invite only. I don't really participate. I don't know what people do on like that. I don't really engage or mess with that too much on VRchat. I don't see the vision. My thing is, if one thing is a problem, they're gonna have to do it for everybody else pretty much. And is that valid? I guess I don't guess I don't see a problem in that. You're trying to make sure trying to make sure it's safe for everyone to use. Make sure there's no issues. I'm all for it. I'm all for about like everyone being safe and all that. Right. But when a issue arose, I don't think we should be so quick to put the blame so fast. It probably should be said in more of like, oh, this should be fixed, and hopefully they do fix that. Now, I don't know what channels you have to do to. I'm pretty sure you can just go report this onto their site, but the way how things are like made, it doesn't seem like you can't just easily make a report or easily send everything. And there's some cases where I heard horror stories of companies that are just completely realistically just don't care about its user base at all, which sounds crazy because without the user base, you wouldn't have much of a you wouldn't really have a company to work with. How do you work a company with nothing? I hope what I'm saying is reasonable. I'm not too sure, but no, that's my whole thing is it's I think there's a little bit more that meets the eye. I don't think I wouldn't say I'm perfect at articulating my points, but I do want to make sure I can clarify kind of stuff. I don't think I clarified it too well because I'm being like awkwardly vague with it. But when it comes to a topic like this, I'm not really too sure what I can like really hit the mark on. But as long as you understand the general point, like, okay, yeah, there's some issues with VRchat, but I don't got issues with VRchat itself, besides the part me getting randomly suspended for, and I quote, NSW profile picture, which is insane to me because I'm sitting there trying to think like, how? What did I do? Because because I know what I did as soon as I lost my VRC plus. I went to Elite's RNG and I put on Estemethados, which the picture for Estemethados wasn't bad or inherently bad at all. I think it was pretty normal for what it was, but then all of a sudden I got kicked out the game. And I wasn't sure what it was, so I went to go look and found out I got suspended from VRchat. I tried to appeal this and see if I can get an issue, but of course I didn't get an answer. But what do you expect from a private company or companies in general? When you report this kind of stuff, they don't have a tendency to give you an answer to anything, which honestly sucks. I don't think they have the. Actually, they really don't have the. What's it called? I should know the words for this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is they don't really need to give it to you. At least they feel as though they don't really need to give it to you, even though it could be some really important information. They don't think they're qualified to give you the information. Which honestly sucks because how are you going to prevent doing something when you don't get the answer for it? They just expect you to know. And when I tried to find this so-called offending content, because you would assume that they would delete the so-called offending content, but nothing was deleted. So I did what I had to do, what most people probably would have done in a situation like that, because clearly there's no way you can get an answer for that. So I just baby jail my stuff, because I don't get that at all. Now for the last part. Now the last stages of this video, I guess I'm just gonna talk about my project that I plan to do. So I have been working on my enlightenment stuff. Mainly just got through the first chapter. Most characters that I may have either talked about previously or have worked on, obviously, they're not going to be in part one, because part one involves chaos and like where he came from originally. I think it's good to talk about his tales and his origins, if you can even call them origins, because part one is a grasp. It's a long tale to behold, due to the fact of you got to understand him as a character. He might be a little difficult to write. I know what you're probably thinking. He's your character. How is it difficult to write him? It's the fact I'm trying to write a character that goes through these changes, that goes through these, I don't want to call him a traumatic experience, but it's an experience enough for him to learn and grow, but then alter him. I don't want to spoil too much because it's supposed to be the secret for him, but that's basically what I'm trying to get at. It's going to be a lot of mind-wrapping shenanigans that most people will find either convoluted or just contradictory. That's why I'm going to do my best to make sure it doesn't. But I know to some people it's probably going to be very confusing reading it once I get to that part of the story, especially when some down later. Hopefully I can make it to that, because I really do want to like complete the whole thing. Hopefully when I complete like that part of the story, it'll be more understanding. But then I think some people might find it bogus that like, bro, what is this, because you know how some people could probably be invested in something and then they just realize like, wait, what happened here? I don't get it, And once you tell them like this has been happening since day one, it's gonna be hard for them to believe, because you would probably think it's a growth, But yeah, no, that's kind of thing I've been going for. Mainly, I've been expressing that through VRchat avatars, which I probably should do better reading some of these creators' TOSs, because apparently some of these guys have like very specific TOS. I think maybe eventually. No, actually, I should probably start early as I can. I probably should really start making my own models from scratch. I have been checking tutorials to try out and make, so I can start from there, so I don't got to worry about a creator's TOS, because the TOSs on some of these avatars is strong, dude. Or some that you would think will be harmless is somehow harmful, because it's really not as simple as you bought the avatar, you can do what you want with it, which honestly sucks in my opinion, since it's like a digital product, but still, it's better to have the respect and decency for the creators that you purchase stuff from. Respect their wishes, Now, with these avatars that I do work on, I barely have time to work on my own sometimes, as I'm doing stuff for friends. Like, they need help with their avatars, I do tend to take commissions for them. I do decent textures, especially, probably put up some, like, my characters' textures on the screen. They show you, like, my texture work. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the best, but I do my best to deviate it, or at least try to make them somewhat special, so who they are, where they came from. I am capable of a little body editing so far. I do want to see if I can try to do some more heavy. I don't think it's really gonna matter if I just want to go learn how to make my own model from scratch, But I'm currently learning how to make clothes. But other than that, that's really all for me. I'll summarize this end of the video. Basically, long video coming up. Virtual furry museum. Golden pet peeves. This is awkwardly a gaming channel. Gaming / fun with friends gaming channel, possibly, maybe. I don't know what to call like what I'm doing. I'm just gonna assume it's supposed to be like some form of gaming channel, especially when I do it with friends. Sometimes, not most of the time. I will be using this channel for almost practically everything. Some people probably find that unwise. I know most people, when they get like a bigger channel, they like make some alternate one that does something in like different. But I like to do a variety of things. And honestly, when I finish that virtual furry museum video, I will give you a proper introduction to at least me and fandom related things, because I'm more of an outside. I'm like an outsider to like the whole spectrum as a whole of the fandom, and I can really say that about a lot of communities because I don't really like go into them or into them as much, but I do get to see that outsider perspective, which is probably why I don't get good experiences from specific groups. Yeah, totally not aiming at like something called the one of VRchat's lovely little groups, you know? Yeah, totally. Yeah, like not some of these fat furs, they're not bad. I wish I can say that with a straight face. Anyway, speaking of them, I know what you're thinking. In my one, I guess I don't know, dude. Like I want to. Actually, no. I think that's something I should save for the pet peeve. Don't judge a book by its cover, because uh, if I talk about that right now, bro, questions. There's gonna be numerous questions. So you can keep your cliffhanger for the don't judge a book by its cover pet peeve. But I will give a little sneak peek to it. Basically, as a creator, right, who wants to create characters, you would want to freely with not a single bit of trouble. Even if you're not making them like profane in any way, which I guess you could probably argue about one of my characters, but I barely do anything with that character for a reason, because I still want to present her. Actually, I have a short for her, Endearin. Endearin is a she's supposed to be an evil character, so the thing she does is going to be provocative or gross, nasty. It's supposed to be. She's evil, right? Um, and even when I complete the short for her, it's still not going to be out of pocket anyway, because what I'm mainly going to showcase for is who she is and what are her cool abilities is, which I did get a lot of inspiration from HS Sands when it comes to her abilities. Yes, I'm an Undertale fan. I came from them. Yes, you will see a lot of my a couple of inspiration from some of my stuff, like for my new recent character. So, sorry, not my recent new character. Like the update to my character with he's like missing one eye. It's because I saw Necroptosis stance and I thought it was so cool. You know, he had like one part of his eye that had like this weird like this weird thing at the top and bottom, almost like it was a scope. And I found it so awesome. So that's when I came up with like the psychotic break version of my character, which he does eventually become brutal on other stuff, and Enlightened Chaos is pretty much supposed to literally just be me because of, well, okay, maybe that's a spoiler. I probably shouldn't mention, but yeah, there is some like clear, distinct, obvious stuff about my character that I do want to connect to me and most of my characters that I make. But when you are thrown into a specific group, and this specific group thinks that this is how these types of people should be portrayed, I'm not portrayed, sorry, portrayed, it really does like make you feel like you don't want to like be a part, or you don't feel like you're connected with it because they're too busy like thinking what it should be, you know? What happening to like, you know, being diverse, you know, being like everything, if everything is supposed to be a subgenre, a subculture, basically a subgenre, right? Not, that means not every part of it is going to be the same. But that's my difficulty with that. I don't know if I said it earlier, but I'm more like I sit outside of these things. I'm very uncultured, and I try my best to keep things to a reasonable pace. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, if you do like this, I guess you can like and subscribe if you want, or you just came here to listen to me rant, see who I am. And yeah, hope to see y'all in the next, well, future videos.